It's the two dudes with the attitudes, let's go. On the Friday, you know what it is, man, they came to handle biz. Two dudes with attitudes, and they came to get it in. If you wanna hear it all, yeah, you in the right place. Going through the highs and lows at a pretty calm pace. This is where they talk to all elite, Dynamite and Rampage. All the other news on your timelines or your page. Shooting star press like it's mad side down. MWO, and yeah, they here to hold it down. Had to kick a rhyme just to tell you about the show. From the TikToks or the shorts, they will bring the smoke. And yeah, it's the dudes like it's Sean and it's Diesel. Live on the Twitch, YouTube for the review. Show them all the love on the platform you using. 5-star rating now, there is no excuses. Welcome back or welcome for the first show. Two dudes with the attitudes, time to work, bro.
Whew. Man, you know it's AEW time when that song is hitting. Two different songs, too. You got to love it. Got to respect that. Two shows, two different.
Respect the game.
I love it. Got to respect the game. Welcome, Two Dudes Wolfpack, back to another episode of Two Dudes with Attitudes, a wrestling podcast. As always, I'm the dude of Wrestle Talk, Mr. MWO. And with me, as always, is my honorary dude and the honorary dude and your honorary dude, Mr. Shooting Star Press. And he had a big day today, so how's it going?
Oh, it was
drop off.
It went fine. I thought there was going to be tears from the little girl. She ran right in like she owned the place, and thought there was going to be tears from us, and no, nothing. So
no tears from the parents.
No, not this one. They had it down to a science to where they were like, okay, we got her. You guys go, and they're like, okay, she's going to go over here, and you guys are going to go over there. So we kind of. We didn't get a chance to like look and see what they were doing and everything. So for those tuning in for the first time, my daughter started kindergarten officially today. She was supposed to start yesterday, but school was out because there was a hurricane, but it was sunny AF outside. And so they canceled school for the first day. And so she went to school today. They do staggered entry here. So they go for one day the first week, and then she'll go officially all 4 days next week because Monday's a holiday.
Got it.
Yeah. So today was her first day, and I think it's going well so far.
Congrats. I'm an educator, so I know how that is to do the whole get the heck out of here, parents. I do that every day for a living, so I respect the game. But yeah, that's exciting, man. Kindergarten.
Yeah.
I remember my kids did that, and when they were going through those stages, and we get old.
Yeah, I know.
Getting older.
It flies by. Flies by.
It does. It does. And speaking of that, talking about flying by, I feel like we just had a pay-per-view like a couple days ago, and we're already getting predictions.
Yeah, we're going to have another one.
Time is flying. And I just realized, too, I was thinking about it. I was like, man, we got Payback and all out this weekend. And I was like, man, but I'm telling you right now, everybody who's watching, I'm going to have to try to find it somewhere because I'm definitely not buying a double pay-per-view 2 weekends.
Oh, no.
I don't even do that for UFC, and this card ain't big enough for me to... Is it normal price? Do you know? Are they doing it $60 again?
I think Tony Khan
needs to get it together, dude.
From what I understand, this is just my understanding, is when he announced this, that they were doing this back-to-back, I think his hope was to have a streaming service for All In, and to launch it for the weekend of All In, so that way everybody could have All In and All Out a week apart without having to pay extra for it. But apparently something happened with Warner Brothers Discovery, and that streaming service, which is going to be called AEW Plus, I think, is not going to launch until everything is plus. But yeah, it's not going to.
Thanks a lot, Apple. Apple did that first, right? Apple Plus, and all of a sudden now everything is.
Yeah, and then it's Disney Plus
and Netflix Plus, and it's Paramount Plus, isn't it? Yeah,
Paramount Plus. Yeah, Paramount Plus. Yeah, everything is plus. But yeah, AEW Plus. I don't know when it's going to launch. Maybe in time for Full Gear in November. Maybe for the new year next year. I don't know, but. Maybe they'll announce it, and then CM Punk will do something to where we're not talking about the streaming service and we're talking about Punk instead, because he likes to be the center of attention in AEW.
Yes, he does. And Full Gear is not their next pay-per-view, though, right? Because we're going to talk about a tournament happening for MJF, and that's before, right?
So but that's an episode of Dynamite. That's like the Grand Slam.
They're doing
that Arthur Ashe thing.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
I forgot AEW loves their theme. So the next one is Full Gear.
I think so. I think they're trying to do he said he was doing a Wrestle Dream or something in Seattle, which is working with New Japan Pro Wrestling again. And I don't know when they're planning on doing that, but yeah, that's the plan. I think the next big pay-per-view for AEW is Full Gear, which is going to be in your neck of the woods.
Supposedly. But I'm upset because tickets haven't gone on sale yet. Like, I want to scoop them up, man. Like, they're happening here. Let's do it. Let's do it. Try to surprise too, right? I think Shooting Star's going to try to do.
I'm going to try.
We're going to try it.
Yeah, two dudes live.
Are they doing Dynamite too out here? Because if so,
I would assume so, and probably Collision too. Yeah.
Oh man, it's like WrestleMania weekend all over.
I know.
It's probably a lot cheaper. AEW events aren't that bad. I can usually like my Raw that I just got for Ontario. So I'm going to Raw September 25th. So I'm gonna we'll talk about it and I'll do some talks and everything else. But it's in Ontario, which is like 2 hours away from me, which isn't bad. Going with Patrick, and the tickets like to get in were like $25. I was like, man, that's nice when tickets are like $25 to get in, but we're sitting lower. But yeah, man, I heard there's a NXT in California, right? Like before that Ontario one. I think their next pay-per-view.
No Mercy.
It's like I think it's north though. I don't think it's
Sacramento.
In my neck. Yeah, I'm not flying.
Sacktown.
That's like 6 hours away from me. I'm not going there. But anyway,
I think
it's something like that. But let's talk AEW. And we had a big weekend, and like we said, we're gonna skip, the last two beforehand because it's unnecessary when it's a pay-per-view going on. So we had All In happen, and All In was a big deal, man. It was 81,000 supposedly fans in there. It didn't feel like 81,000. I don't know why. I'm not saying they didn't hit the number. I 100% believe they did. I just feel like I don't know. I don't know if it was our camera angles or what. It didn't feel bigger than WrestleMania 3. I'll tell you that much. When you go back and look at WrestleMania 3, that looked like there was 100,000 people there. So I don't know. Maybe it's just the way they did it, or maybe they packed a lot of people on the floor. I have no idea. But either way, it was a big deal. I don't know why, but when wrestling cards are outside, I just feel like it's more important. Like, I like indoor better. Like when we went to Mania, it's not as loud. It's not as impactful than when it was when we went to Raw or NXT. Because indoor, smaller, you get the acoustics are like better. But visually, watching that card, it just felt like, all right, AEW, like, congratulations. Like, this is it. You're doing that. It's an outside event. It's big. I don't know. It felt very WWE. I liked it. It felt important. So mad props to them. And they did a good job with everything and the presentation and how they did it. The set was
nice. Yeah,
the set was nice.
Looked really good. Yeah, I thought they definitely brought it. And I thought it was a solid show for the most part.
Very much so.
And to talk about the crowd size and everything too, you're right. I think it didn't feel like they had 81,000, but it still felt loud. And it felt like they were on their feet all night. They weren't, the European fans love wrestling, and anytime it goes out there, they show out. And those fans did a great job. They did it when Money in the Bank, when WWE was there. They did it at Clash of the Castle last year when WWE was there. So, anytime wrestling is in with our friends across the pond, those fans turn up and they show out, and
they really do.
Yeah, they do a great job. They
do. So with that said, we got some highs and some lows going at you. We're each going to do one to kind of talk about it. But one thing that wasn't brought up in our highs and our lows was MJF and Adam Cole. So let's just brief it for people that maybe, didn't see it. But they won their opening match in about 6 minutes. They did the kangaroo double kick and the double clothesline for the win. And then they main evented. There was a lot of action going on. Roderick Strong, they did a double clothesline to each other. They actually announced it. Double clothesline, and double clotheslined each other and fell on each other and double pinned. Then, Adam Cole was like, Adam Cole said 5 more minutes. MJF said, no, we're doing this till there's a winner. There was the ring incident where he took it off and put it on and took it off, and Roderick Strong banked him in the head, and Adam Cole didn't want to win that way, and then he got rolled up, and MJF is your champ. MJF is basically saying, hey, you love the belt more than you love our friendship. And then Adam Cole and them hug it out. He holds his hand up, and it looks like everything is good. That was going to be my high just because I appreciate the fact that they're not breaking them up. I know that was the idea. I guarantee the plan was not to work, that this was not going to hit, and it's hitting. So keep it cooking, right? Let's keep it cooking. Yeah. So Ruby Soho won the belt.
Or Saraya.
Kind of a shot. Oh, Saraya, sorry. By Ruby Soho's doing the TBS. So Saraya did and sprayed the green mist. And now I'm kind of confused. I don't know if the Outcasts are even because Tony Storm made it like Outcast ain't a thing, but Ruby Soho came out still in green representing the Outcast, and then Soraya's just why do we need a follow up on the new champion? That makes no sense. So, but so in case you didn't watch it and you saw Dynamite and you're like, who the heck won? Because they did talk about it, but there was even a part where Toni Storm hit her mom. It was her mom, right, in the crowd. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and such on. So, but neither of us, we actually both said there was a 0% chance Saraya was going to win that match.
And she did,
And she won it, which is cool. I mean, I'm fine with it.
When I made that prediction, I completely forgot that Saraya was from the UK. And I didn't even register with me that, she could win in her hometown. I didn't even think about that. So that's E on me.
Me too. And then obviously there was other things that went on backstage that we'll talk about after this. So let's go to our highs and lows. My first high is going to be the first time I got high is going to be this hat. I gotta say, said it. I said it was either they were gonna win them or Badass was gonna turn. And I got the latter. The latter. They won. The Acclaim are back, baby. Scissor me. Come on, you got to scissor me. Scissor me. Come on. Woo! We got to do it. I love it. I feel like when we started this podcast, when I started this, the Acclaim were the most overact in AEW, and they've kind of fizzled out. I'm so happy that they got these belts. And the match itself was whatever. This is probably the minus my low, although it was a higher rated match. This is probably the lowest rated match. It was like 14 minutes. They did what they needed to do. It wasn't anything flashy. But the title change, Billy Gunn being a champ or daddy ass, and the Acclaim can feel relevant again. I just feel like the House of Black, I see them in the same light as I do Undertaker or the late great Bray Wyatt, where when you got that gimmick, you don't need a championship because your threatness, your vibe, your who you are is all you need. And although they were phenomenal champs, I'm not taking away, I just feel like the House of Black can still do their damn thing and be important for the rest of their time without these trios titles. And the Acclaimed needed the trios titles, which we'll get into on Dynamite. But I'm pumped. If you're not going to be the tag team champ, be the trios champion. I think they can do some wonders with it. I just hope they have a longer reign than they did their tag title reign, because I'm still pissed off about that reign. It was like a few months because I mean, look at the crowd again. I mean, everybody loves the Acclaim, man.
Yeah. And hopefully they use them properly too. That's the big thing. We saw the Acclaimed when they won the tag team titles, and then they kind of, like you said, they fizzled out and they weren't on TV regularly. They Acclaimed every week was what AEW stood for, and then they or Acclaimed every Wednesday, and then they moved them to Rampage, and then they were on Collision, and then they weren't on TV for a couple weeks at a time. And I thought that was a surprise. I did not see that coming. I really thought House of Black was going to pull it out, but no, I liked it, and we'll talk more about it when we get to Dynamite, the follow-up from it too. I thought that was fantastic as well. So kudos to the Acclaimed, and give them a good run.
Please, they deserve it, and why not? The Trios division is probably the weakest division. You might as well run with it. So let the Acclaim kind of turn it inside out. So, all right, man.
All right, my high is what I think is the match of the night, and that was Chris Jericho versus Will Ospreay. Chris Jericho, he silenced some critics, man. I mean, there were a lot of people out there that thought that, he's not going to be able to hang with Ospreay. He's not going to be able to go. He's 55 or however old he is, and he's not in the best shape. He's looking old out there. Some people have said that he needs to hang it up and retire, and the man can still go. He proved it. He proved it, and this was a phenomenal match of Chris Jericho. And honestly, like when I watched it, I've said it before. I haven't been the biggest Ospreay supporter just because I don't know much about him because I don't watch New Japan. But man, that guy showed out, and I had a feeling he would. But man, and I think I don't think anybody carried the other. I think they both just went out there and put on a hell of a match, and it was. It was fun to watch. It was good to see that old vintage Jericho back. It felt like a Jericho of old, wrestling Shawn Michaels or wrestling Kurt Angle or wrestling Eddie Guerrero from back in the early 2000s. And this was great. The whole match, Ospreay getting the win. I loved all of it. I thought it was all great. I know a lot of people gave Jericho some grief about playing his own entrance music and everything into the to the match, but I actually like that too. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I thought that was something different, and I thought he did it. I thought he brought it. I love his entrance song, and the fans were loud. They were cheering for it. So yeah, I loved all of it. Chris Jericho versus Will Ospreay, my match of the night for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it was easily the match of the night. And for the fact that people are still like sleeping on Jericho, like he has given nobody a reason to not think he can pull off a great match. And there's nothing more that I cannot stand about wrestling fans other than being fickle, are the fact that they will always say, so-and-so can't hang. I remember a year ago it was Roman Reigns couldn't hang in a match with Kenny Omega. Chris Jericho can't hang in a match with Will Ospreay. I don't think people understand how wrestling works. And when you are on a level, there's levels to this game, right? When you're a level of Chris Jericho, are you going to have a Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega match? No. You're going to have a Will Ospreay and Chris Jericho match, and it's going to tell a great story, and it's going to be successful because they're going to know how to work it to their abilities. Same thing with Roman and Kenny Omega. You're going to tell me right now Roman and Kenny Omega wrestled, it wouldn't be a phenomenal match? Get the fudge out of here. Like, I don't understand why people, this isn't John Jones versus, Mia Chick coming up, and Mia Chick's going to get destroyed.
Yeah.
And because he doesn't belong in the ring with John Jones, it's just this is wrestling. This is a scripted event that they know each other's abilities and can make it work. I hate when I just have to say, I just can't stand when people are like, oh, that guy couldn't hang with him. They all can hang with each other.
Yeah, they can all
professionals. Yeah. Can two people not mix well? Yeah, sure, but that's usually not great. There's not a lot of times where Seth Rollins is having a bad match with anybody. Like there's levels to this game, and when you have two people who are at that level, they're gonna have a great damn match. The end. So I wasn't shocked, but I'm glad you are realizing now that Will Ospreay is.
Oh yeah, dude. He's that dude.
And it's funny too because you think about people now, right? It was Kenny Omega, and it was Seth Rollins, and it was I don't know whoever else that you think is like the best in the game right now in the ring or whatever else, but Will Ospreay is that dude. He's kind of taken over Kenny Omega. He's kind of like the new Kenny Omega in that aspect of people want to see this dude go. And he's just fierce. He can do it all. I mean, like you said, you saw his mic ability in this match.
Yeah.
Kind of, to me, had him show out. And I know people were saying, well, he's had better matches. And sure, whatever. But this match was good. And I thought this stole the show. And I like that it wasn't a gimmicky match, what I'll get into next. So
yeah.
It was good stuff.
And the rumors are true that his contract with NJPW is up. AEW needs to scoop him up now and build around him and make him the star that he is. And
I agree.
Maybe even have him dethrone MJF. I don't know, but something
why not?
Yeah, because that guy's a stud.
And I know New Japan now is basically part of AEW. I mean, they're all on.
Yeah.
But being signed is a lot different than being a part of. So yeah, I agree.
Right.
And talking about that, I want to talk about my low. You ready?
Let's do it.
Get low. I want to talk. I'm just going to talk about it in general. There was way too many gimmicky tag matches going on this card. You know what my least favorite was? Obviously, Best Friends versus the BCC. I keep saying this goes with everything, right? And I said this about Roman. Like eventually, like if you're going to have the same setup every single match, it's going to get boring. It's going to get stale. And the Bloodline was doing that. We talked about that last time. Like it was working. And then finally was like, okay, how many times can we have Solo coming? How many times can we have Jimmy coming? How many times do we have to have Paul? I get it. This is the same with Jon Moxley. And I think it makes it worse because Mox does this on Dynamite, Collision, pay-per-views, at his house with his wife. He has to get stabbed in the forehead or the face or just something. And it's we were talking about before we got on. I said I think they bleed more on AEW than ECW did.
Yeah,
like this is like Mox, calm the F down. It just doesn't feel important. Like they literally have taken away from me that now when I just see blood and stuff, I'm just like ugh. Like I'm just over it. Not that I'm just over it. Even when he got stabbed with the spaghetti thing,
yeah,
and they were like stuck in his forehead. I'm like, why? What is the point? The barbed wire, the hitting. I mean, there was so. And not only that, but it made, like, I saw people reviewing this, rating this match, saying it was so great. How? I mean, literally, you couldn't even follow the match. It was, like, all over the freaking place. I couldn't, like, pay attention to who's getting hurt, who's getting their arms ripped off. I know Eddie Kingston also gets off on that. Like, now I feel like Orange Cassidy gets off on it. Like, these guys are just, Tony Khan needs to tell them, like, hey, I get it. Y'all like to bleed and stuff. Let's make it special, right? At least let's just do it on pay-per-views. let's just do it once a month. Let's like not every single night. I just don't care anymore. And I know that's the BCC's gimmick is that they bleed and stuff and whatever else. But like, God, when he pulled out that fork, I was like, ugh. Orange Cassidy even brings it up later. He's like, bring your fork, Moxley. Like, I'm just like, God,
yeah,
fork, like that's your thing. Is there? I don't know. I don't know. But it was just all of it. Like even the Acclaim, they had a gimmicky match. They had the Bullet Club Gold versus the Elite and another like gimmicky match. The women's 4-way match was like everything was like an interference match or that's another thing Tony Khan does so wrong is that he wants everything to have a thing. Like just make a match. You can have a tag team match. There was a Texas Tornado. Wasn't there a tornado match too? Or was that that was Mox thinks Terry Funk is the greatest of all time. What do you expect? Thank you, Patrick.
That's true.
That's true. That's true. But we're just in a different time. Like back then, Terry Funk had to do that, right? Like I've always said that. Like back in the days, wrestlers weren't as talented as they are now. And that's not to take away from the late great Terry Funk, because he is a legend and one of the best ever. But I'm just saying, you had to mask it. Mick Foley admits it. You had to do certain things to get yourself over. We don't have to do that. And Mox doesn't have to do that. You don't have to rip your head open every single week.
And when you know better, you do better.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we know
so
better
what do you
now.
think? I mean, I can go on this rant forever, but it's just going to be me going in circles. But yeah, what do you?
I agree. I didn't like the gimmicky matches. I really did not like the Stadium Stampede match at all. It's a cool match if there's no fans in attendance. Like when they introduced it during the COVID era and there was nobody there, like. That was cool. That was different. It was fighting into the crowd, fighting backstage, fighting on the field, fighting wherever you at the ticket stands and all that fun stuff. But now, like there was people there. It was hard to follow. Camera was painting everywhere. Moxley has spaghetti noodles dangling out of his forehead. Eddie Kingston is going to the locker room like Paul Pierce and then returning and saying the day. And but he doesn't care about John Moxley. He's going after Claudio Castagnoli. Like, can we just let them have a one-on-one match already, for crying out loud? Like, why do they keep doing these tag matches over and over and over? Just let them. That's the story. They have a hatred for each other. Let's let that story unfold and make them have a one-on-one match. Stop with these gimmicky things. And the Stadium Stampede was by far my least favorite match. It's too much. It's too much blood. It's too much gore. And unnecessary stuff too. I feel like it sets wrestling back a little bit. Just when we're making significant strides forward, we take 5 steps backwards, and it's just ridiculous.
I couldn't watch this with my son. My 9-year-old son would be like, "What the heck is going on?" Like, I want to watch wrestling. I don't want to watch people constantly ripping their heads out and stuff. I was watching a Dynamite once, and it was happening, and my son was like, "I'm gonna leave." It was Moxley, like bleed all over the place. I'm like, sorry, dude, I didn't know they did this on Rampage. But
now they're stabbing each other with forks, stabbing each other with screwdrivers, just all this just unnecessary stuff. So
I agree. I made a point. I was talking to a friend, and I said how I thought it was weird that Moxley was bleeding all over the freaking place, but when he came out on Dynamite, he had like 3 little like bumps. Yeah, and he was saying that there's a theory going around that they're faking it, that they're wearing like skull caps and things over their heads with blood, and so when you stab it, it sticks into like the cap, and then it's the fake blood coming out, and that's why they're not really having a lot of marks after matches and stuff. Yeah, I don't know if it's real. I'm not starting a rumor. I'm not saying that's true at all. My friend said he had talking to other people. Yeah,
breaking news.
Like, no, I'm not that guy. But I was just hearing, and even that, if that's the case, then it would even bother me even more. Because I'm like, now you're just like literally forcing. Like you don't have to have blood every single match. But anyway. But yeah, because I did think it was weird. Moxley looked pretty good for somebody who was literally looked like he was dying.
Yeah. And Orange Cassidy too, for that matter.
Yeah, he looked good too. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Speaking of that, my low is just the overall. Like the wrestling was great, the show itself was great, but there's just no story. And I didn't, at the conclusion of All In, I think I texted you and said, All In was good, but I don't have a reason to watch Dynamite on Wednesday, and I don't have a reason to watch Collision on Saturday. Those are their 2 flagship shows. Rampage is in there too, but Dynamite and Collision are the 2 big shows. There was no, and I'm okay with the fact that there was no Adam Cole turn or MJF turn. I'm okay with that. It's just there was no real stories to get me to watch the shows on Dynamite or Collision. So for example, nothing happened at the conclusion of the world title match. So if you're not going to have MJF turn or Adam Cole turn, set up something for All Out. to get me to watch on Wednesday. Maybe CM Punk comes out, or maybe some MJF's next opponent comes out, or maybe there's a big return that comes out and takes out MJF, and that sets up the match for All Out. But they didn't do that. There was nothing. Billy Gunn didn't turn, which okay, fine. But again, what reason do I have to watch? I mean, yeah, we got to watch the ribbon cutting ceremony on Dynamite, but what's next for House of Black? What's going on with them? FTR and the Young Bucks are now friends. Or nothing really happened in that match, and they're now teaming up at All Out against the Bullet Club Gold, and just I don't know. I just feel like WWE does a good job with this when it comes to pay-per-views and stuff. We talked yesterday when we did our WWE predictions. The story right now in Payback is Damian Priest. Will Finn Balor is he going to try to cash in? Are they going to win the tag titles? There's drama in the Judgment Day. There's really no drama to get us and that makes us want to watch Monday Night Raw. There's Jimmy Uso just turned on Jey Uso. That made us want to watch SmackDown to see okay, what's the follow up on this? There's not a lot of that in AEW after their pay-per-views, and they kind of it's like they start completely from scratch on Dynamite, and not really a lot of follow up on things.
No, even like Shinsuke and Seth, like you said, they had like 3 weeks in it that there was already a story. You know what I mean? And they built it up nicely. But AEW has always like their go home shows are always mediocre. This go home show again, because it was back to back pay-per-views, was mediocre. This Dynamite was mediocre. It's just like I don't know if they know how to do it. They don't. Sometimes they tell stories and they've always struggled it, and they start to get there. Like MJF and Adam Cole, it's a good story, right? And now we have Roderick Strong in it, which we'll talk about, and you're building a good story there. But other than that, how many stories are there? Because even House of Black and the Acclaim was kind of random, And
then Tony Storm and Saraya, are the Outcasts done? Who follow up with that on Dynamite? But they don't. Saraya wasn't even there, and Ruby Soho's dressed in green, and Tony Storm's getting interviewed throwing shoes at Renee. Like there's no follow up on things, and so that's one of my lows with AEW. Yeah,
well, and I feel like AEW is always behind on time. Like they don't have good time management. Like Tony Khan's not good at that because he gives the wrestlers A, whatever they want, and B, they wrestle for too long. Every match can't be 15 minutes. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't give you enough time to kind of build that story up and do things. Like even Daddy Ass came out and was like, "Yeah, no, we got to hurry up. We have no time, so let's get this party started." Like even he announced it, like we don't have any time for our segment. Like. I'm surprised they didn't cut it out. So it's like, I agree. Like stuff like the Outcast and everything, that wouldn't get ignored. That wouldn't be forgotten on WWE. They wouldn't have a thing with the Bloodline and then just like they wouldn't have a thing with Damage Control and then it not like it carried over on at least like a follow up.
Something anything. To get us to want to tune in to Dynamite or Collision, and they didn't do that. Even the Jericho Ospreay thing. I mean, he shoved Sammy Guevara, but that's it. There was no that. Nope, nothing there. So
one thing they've gotten better at though is that with all this stuff they're doing, like their tournaments that we'll get into and everything, they have been doing better like video packages. Not as well as WWE, but they're trying. Like I mean, they gave the tag teams time to talk and hype up and showed them wrestle, and at least they're like building some kind of. But once again, doing tournaments is a cheap way of not having to build stories, which we'll get into. But anyway, with that said, overall I thought All In was good, as did you. But once again, nothing's perfect, and so. Those were our highs and our lows. But there was something that happened during All In.
A big backstage,
low. Right off the bat, before the show, in between the pre-show and the show, we had some stuff going on. And so we're right back again into what did CM Punk say today? That's what it's called, right? Did I get it right this time?
Yeah,
what did CM Punk say today? Or what did CM Punk do today? Or what did CM Punk breathe or do? Or I was talking to him while you were pulling up this thing. I was like, man, so what did CM Punk say today? I was pulling up the thing and I was like, telling him, I'm like, dude, how is AJ Lee? Unless she's like a different human being in real life, her book and who she is, she seems like the sweetest, nicest, greatest person. How long have they been married? Like, he has to be this guy outside.
Yeah, they've been married a while.
Supposedly he was this guy in WWE, just Triple H knew how to tame him and controlled his ass. But I'm just like so confused on how this wonderful, beautiful human being wants to be around, because this guy, he's just coming off now more and more. COVID turns people for good or bad. And I was seeing him during COVID, like become that, when he would come out and be like, wear masks, be better. And then he would jump into the crowd with no mask on during like
that's how he broke
times
his
where
foot.
he weren't even, I was there. Yeah. And doing stupid stuff. But then like the next, like he's just like a walking, talking hypocrite. I was telling my friend, I was like, and the worst part is that he's straight edge. So he doesn't even have an excuse. He can't even come in and be like, sorry, TK, I had like 2 shots before I walked in. I get a little stupid when I do some tequila. No,
smoked a little
just,
dope.
Yeah, nothing. He's just straight a douchebag. So anyway, I want you to start it off. Fill us in on what CM Punk said and did today.
All right. So one of my favorite matches of the All In card was Jungle Boy Jack Perry versus Hook. I thought that match was great. It was another gimmicky match that we talked about, but I thought it was on the pre-show. It took place right before Adam Cole and MJF and Aussie Open. It was or did it? Yeah, I think it took. Did it take place after or before? I think it
was Aussie Open. Then it was Hook and them were right before CM Punk.
That's right. That's right.
Like
and CM Punk opened the show.
That's why they can cross. Yeah, because it's yeah.
So anyway, there was some drama a couple of weeks ago on Collision when Jungle Boy showed up, or Jack Perry. I don't think he likes being called Jungle Boy, but Jack Perry showed up and he wanted to do a spot with Real Glass in a match, and CM Punk basically shot him down because he's the end all be all judge, jury, and executioner on all things Collision, and he said something along the lines of, "We don't do that ilk on this show. We wrestle and we follow stories and blah 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 blah." So anyway, it turned into a big thing. They had like an argument. Jack Perry was unhappy. He got upset, and so then in the match with Hook at All In, there was a segment where Jack Perry took a bump onto a car windshield, and right before he took the bump, he looked at the camera and said, "It's Real Glass, go cry me a river," aka taking a direct shot at one Chicago-made chick magnet Cookie Monster Punk. And so then the match carries on. It again, great match. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was probably Hook's best match since being in AEW, and Hook ends up winning. But apparently backstage, Jack Perry and CM Punk crossed paths, and the rumor has it, multiple reports came out, but I think everybody has agreed that this is the final version. But they crossed paths, and Punk went to Jack Perry and said, "Do we have a problem?" And Jack Perry said something along the lines of he didn't like how that story portrayed him. The story of the Real Glass made him out to look like an idiot, and how he made him look lazy, because he was saying CM Punk's camp said that it's because he didn't want to come back to work the following week, and that's why he was doing it. And that happens a lot in AEW, and yada, yada, yada. So apparently Jack Perry said that I didn't like how that story portrayed me, and so I took a shot. And then Punk said, I could kick your ass, right? And then Punk sucker punched Jack Perry and then put him in a chokehold and caused a whole bunch of hullabaloo right there at the gorilla position, where Tony Khan is wearing his headset. He's getting ready for the opening match with CM, which is ironically CM Punk and Samoa Joe. And so, yeah, Punk has him in a chokehold. Rumor has it Samoa Joe is the one he was getting furious, and he was like breaking up CM Punk and trying to get him off of Jack Perry. Miro was there apparently to try to break it up, and everything cooled down. But Punk apparently was yelling things like, "I quit, I hate this fucking place," and just all these different things, saying he was quitting at AEW. Tony Khan then went to Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks Kenny Omega and for the 6-man to see if they could open the show, because it looked like Punk wasn't going to be working All In, and they couldn't. They weren't ready. And then the Young Bucks and FTR said that they could do it. But then cooler heads prevailed, and Punk ended up working the match with Samoa Joe, retaining his AEW Real World Championship, if anybody cares. I sure as hell don't. But Punk beat Samoa Joe. I thought it was a good match, I guess. But I thought Samoa Joe he looked good. Punk looked okay. But then afterwards, Tony Khan at the media scrum address that said that there was a situation in the locker room. He didn't go into any further details and just said that it's being investigated. And then it came out on Monday, I think, that Punk and Jack Perry are indefinitely suspended and most likely will not be working AEW All Out this Sunday in Chicago, which I think is a huge blow to all the Chicagoans that are going to that event. A lot of them are going there to see CM Punk, and if he's not there, I think that's a huge blow. But at the same time, you reap what you sow, and Punk got, if he's not there, it's rightful. I think it's deserved. And but there's just been a bunch of additional stuff that's come out. He apparently had issues with Miro, which, dude, don't start stuff with Miro. Miro, I don't know if he can fight or not. Like, we were talking about this off the air. We don't know if he can fight or not, but I wouldn't start anything with Miro. Like, that dude scares me. If I saw him, I'd be like, yes, sir, you can have whatever you want. But then, and this also was a bad look for wrestling journalists out there, because the reports were coming out. One report was saying that Jack Perry and CM Punk are suspended. Another one was saying that no, they're not suspended. There's just been no communication. And then one says that, oh yeah, they definitely are suspended. So there's been a bunch of back and forth. Nobody really knows. It's all a bunch of speculation. Mm-hmm. And then there was one report that said Miro and Punk went at it. Miro addressed Punk to see what happened. Then there's another report that said Miro went up to Punk and said, asked him what happened, and Punk was like, "Why do you want to fight me too?" And then they started laughing. They were joking, so it was like a joking fight. And like Miro was like, "Oh, you want to take it outside?" And then, so there's just been a bunch of, he said, she said. This group says this. This group says this. It's a bunch of speculation. But at the end of the day, the common denominator is CM Punk. And yet again, we're talking about CM Punk over what was the biggest show in AEW's history. And yet again, anytime AEW does anything great, they had All Out last year. And I can't remember a single match of All Out 2022, but we all know what happened after All Out. Mm-hmm. Right before the announcement of Collision is made. What happens? CM Punk releases an Instagram story ripping on Jericho and Moxley. And it looks like, he's still not coming back. And so they had to delay his announcement return for like a couple more weeks while he hashed everything out. And now here we are talking about All In, and he's still fighting everybody backstage. And don't get me started on the whole Collision thing from a few weeks ago when he ripped on Adam Page for no reason and is banning everybody left and right from the show. So yeah, it's just a bunch of he said, she said, gobbledygook. And at the end of the day, it's time to move on from CM Punk.
I agree fully. And the fact that Jack Perry is suspended is bananas to me. And I don't know what happened per se, but enough is out there that it was all CM Punk and Jack Perry just defending himself. You're allowed to use words. You can mock people. I don't
understand too. Like, it's wrestling. Like, Jack Perry could have just said, "I was in character. I'm a scumbag, and like I'm trying to portray this evil heel, this heel character." And Punk, he's been around long enough to know, okay, like, this is how wrestling works. Like, did I like it? No. Then that's it. You don't have to fight everybody just because they do something you don't like. But then you go and do stuff, like you go and call out Adam Page for no reason. It's completely fine. Like, I don't understand.
No, he's an entitled little child. That's what he is. He is a freaking child. I don't care. I don't care if he knew I said that. I'll give him my home address. The dude's a child. He's a straight entitled, whiny little kid. That's what he is. I mean, I work with children. He's literally the children I work with. Anyone from 11 to 14 years old. That's who he is. That's how he acts. Boo-hoo, cry me a river. Like he said, I love the Justin Timberlake reference, cry me a river. But it's just like we were saying, Shawn Michaels back in the day would say some wild ass shit on mics and Brett about us that would never approve, and we moved on. You know what I mean? Like Scott Steiner did it. Ric Flair used to.
Brett called Shawn Michaels out.
Brett, yes, but like people didn't just always fight. Did Brett and Shawn fight? Yeah, sunny day. Like, did Brett and Shawn fight once? Yes, but it wasn't always. They always said these type of things. Like, stuff in wrestling happen. I just feel like CM Punk needs to grow the F up. He also needs to be let go. I think there's points in people's lives where you just get to a level that you need to be kind of brought back down to reality. And I think this is a good time for him to just move away. His wrestling hasn't been great since he's come back. His mic skills are whatever. And he's really not bringing in numbers. He was what, first on the card? It's not like anybody went to All In for him. So, I mean, this is, we have moved on past CM Punk. You can, just like when Hogan finally faded out, CM Punk is fading out. It's just, the WWE doesn't need the Rock and Stone Cold anymore either. Like, and he's not even on the level of these people, but it's time to, TK needs to really, and TK needs to really grow a set. How does he run a football team? I don't understand how you can have any discipline. Well, maybe Daddy needs to come over, and maybe Daddy Ass needs to come over.
Yeah, somebody.
Daddy Khan and come over and help him.
Yeah, I've seen people on the internet though just defending CM Punk left, and I'm a CM Punk fan. I love CM Punk. He's one of my all-time favorites. I I watched him get into a verbal altercation with a guy named Johnny Bananas on the Real World Road Rules Challenge. So that's how much of a Punk fan I am. But like I've seen people that like, oh, CM Punk is the only adult in the situation, and I'm like, because he works in a room full of children, and these people are acting like kids, and I'm just like, how are people defending this? This is every time he is the common denominator in all of this, and
everything.
Tony Khan needs to. I'm actually, I will be very surprised if CM Punk is not on the card at All Out. If he is, then I'll give Tony Khan. If he's not on the card at All Out, I'll give Tony Khan his flowers, because that means that he actually did something. But I have a feeling he's going to be on the card. He's going to show up because he needs the money. He knows that Chicago's a huge draw, and then we're going to be wash, rinse, repeat again with CM Punk. But
CM Punk is 100% going to be there.
Yeah. I have this feeling, but. Yeah, and Jack Perry won't be, and this is like his first offense, and that's the thing I don't like.
Yeah, me neither. It wasn't even an offense. You can say what you want. You don't get to just once again an adult. People are saying he's acting like an adult. Adults don't get in fist fights. That's children getting fist fights. That's not adults use words.
Everybody else is acting like children, and Punk is just even Bully Ray on Busted Open was defending Punk, saying that
no, he wasn't.
He was saying he was defending Punk that. What he said at All Out last year was completely right and justified. It was just the wrong setting to do it. He shouldn't have done it publicly. He should have said it to their face and should have sat them down and talked to Adam Page.
Well, yes, that makes that makes more.
But he was like, I agree with everything he said. It was just the wrong setting.
I don't know about that, but
yeah. I don't know, but at the end of the day, Punk needs to go, and I think AEW they'd be fine. They don't need CM Punk.
They don't. At all.
They don't. And that pains me to say, I don't even think he likes wrestling anymore. I think that's
I don't either.
Like he hated it when he left WWE, and then he came back. I think there's more to it than as to why he came back, but probably money. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I don't think he loves it anymore.
Me neither. I agree. All right, you ready? Dynamite time.
Yeah, let's go on to Dynamite.
This go home show was not that great, but they just had one. So when you have back-to-back go home shows, but there were some weird things going on. So the first thing I want to talk about on Dynamite is Orange Cassidy versus Jon Moxley. So they hinted at this a month ago, maybe a little bit less, and I talked about how excited I was that, oh my gosh, this was one of my things I talked about too when it happened, was that Orange Cassidy needs real opponents. I'm not saying Penta isn't a real opponent. He wrestled Penta on Dynamite and he won, and it's not that he's not a real opponent. He's just not Jon Moxley, right? And I feel like Orange Cassidy never gets those big name guys, and Jon Moxley is in AEW. He's that guy, right? He's gonna be the, I don't know, trying to think of comparable in WWE of who like that dude is when you're not a champ. But like how Seth Rollins was the entire time during Roman Reigns, like how Cody Rhodes is. You know what I mean? He's that guy. He's Cody Rhodes. Like you face him, he's Brock Lesnar. If you face him, you're gonna get some street cred. And Orange Cassidy needs us win or lose, right? So, but the thing that I didn't like, because the end promo was cool. I love that after Orange Cassidy won and beat Penta, he cut a pretty good promo. He
showed some emotion. Yeah.
He showed some emotion. It shows that he is as good as I have always thought he was. I did also like that he said, because I'm freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy and I don't have a catchphrase. And he like dropped it. And I'm like, that's your catchphrase, bro. I like dig it. But then Mox came out, shoved his face, headbutted him, walked out. I loved it. What I didn't love was that we opened up Dynamite stating that Orange Cassidy will defend his international championship against Penta to decide who faces Jon Moxley at All Out. And Moxley had a match too. So I was very, very confused on why Orange Cassidy is wrestling somebody to earn a right to defend his championship against Jon Moxley. It's the most ass backwards thing. Like I said, I would be like Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso for the title. Winner gets to face The Rock at WrestleMania
for the title.
Yeah. That would not happen. It's just not, you don't have a champion earn a right to face somebody else. And it made Orange Cassidy feel less important, in my opinion. It made Moxley feel even bigger than what he is. I didn't get it. I'm glad for the match. I like everything building up to it, but that was really like a moment, in my opinion. I don't get it. I've never seen that before.
Weird. And I like this match, and I think Orange Cassidy deserves to have a high profile match at
Mm-hmm.
one of the biggest shows of the year. I hate that this match is taking place at All Out. I feel like it should have taken place in All In instead of the Stadium Stampede thing that we got. But no, I like that they're showing. I like that they're giving Orange Cassidy his props, and I like that he's getting a real opponent now for this title instead of defending it in a battle royal or defending it in, a one-on-one match with somebody that we know he's going to beat. So we'll get into predictions later, but yeah, the whole stipulation of the winner gets to face Jon Moxley for the international championship. That was dumb. It was, and like Patrick says, it was a weird way to say that Moxley gets the next shot, and
it really was.
I agree. It was just, yeah, it had me scratching my head. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I get we're trying to be different, but this is not it. This is not the way to do it.
Even the thing on the screen, whatever they're called, it had like them two on the side and Moxley in the middle, like looking over, like, waiting. Who's gonna face me for your title? Yeah, it was very weird.
Yeah, could have done it so many different
ways.
Why
couldn't Mox win? Like, why couldn't you have Penta and them wrestle, and then Mox in his match wrestle, and the winners of each match face each other for the internet?
Or at least or Mox is the number one contender. Yeah.
Or after he won, now Mox will face the winner of that match. Not these two are going to fight to see who faces Moxley. That's what I didn't like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, bro.
The other questionable things on Dynamite that occurred was Chris Jericho came out and is he a babyface? Is he a heel? I don't know what they're doing with Jericho at the moment. I was just saying his praises about his match against Will Ospreay. I thought it was great. But then there's no follow up to the Don Callis storyline, so I guess we're done with that.
Yeah.
There's again no story going into Dynamite. There's nothing. And there was no mention that like Sammy Guevara, he shoved him after the match because he lost, and then it looked like we were going to have a match at All Out between Sammy Guevara and Jericho because they were kind of going after each other, saying that you could have hit him a little bit harder, and Sammy Guevara was like, well, you could have hit the code breaker on him a little bit harder, and then Jericho was like, well, you could have listened to me and you would have been AEW World Champion, but no, you didn't listen to me and you ended up losing to MJF. So they were going back and forth. And then it looked like we were going to have a match between the two, Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho. And I would be all for that. I mean, sign me up. I'd take my money. I would see that match. I think it would be great. And again, Sammy Guevara, one of the pillars of the company, didn't wrestle it all in, didn't wrestle it all out. I don't know what's going on there, but and then all of a sudden Jericho's like, wait, before we fight, let's be tag team partners again. And Sammy Guevara's like, okay, yeah, we'll be partners again, and we'll bring back the Les Sex Gods, and now we're gonna go after the tag team championships. And then they're like, yay, that's great, let's do it. And so it's just like, is this the same thing we're seeing over and over in AEW? Is this the theme now where you put people together that don't really want to be together? Adam Cole and MJF. You have the Outcasts, and they're having their little problems now, and now you have Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho. Is it setting up for a turn? Billy Gunn, is he going to turn on is that the only story that Tony Khan knows how to run with, and he's just doing it for everybody? I don't know, but the segment started off great, and then it kind of fizzled out towards the end. And am I excited to see them go after the tag belts? Yeah, I think the tag team division needs some work and needs some depth, and I think they're a good team to go for it. But it was just an odd way to get there.
I agree, and the sad part is that they did such a good job. Their back and forth was good. Sammy Guevara is not really a promo type guy, but he was. I mean, obviously Jericho's top 3 of all time, but they were going back and forth, and it was good, man. Their hits at each other, they were going digs and this and that, and I was feeling it. And then they got like angry at each other, and then all of a sudden it was let's bring back the Sex Guys. Yeah. And then Sammy Guevara was like, oh yeah. Like he's gonna punch him. No, he like hugged him. They like held each other's hands
it out.
Up.
Yeah.
And then his music hit, and I was like, okay, usually when the music hits, there's not a turn. And then I was like, well, here comes the turn. And then they're like whispering to each other and giggling, and then they just like walk out and leave. And I'm like, wait, huh? Wait, what? So what was the whole point of the because it wasn't even like a part where it like kind of like went and then they were like shoving each other and they were like, why are we doing this? Like, we need to like get it together. Like, we're best friends and you're like, going to support me. Like, let's wake up. It was nothing. It was just like all of a sudden,
you know?
Yes, there was, there was like nothing. It was just, nothing. All right, let's tag team. And I'm all for them being a tag team. I think that's a good thing for Chris Jericho to do. If he's really getting older and needs to not wrestle in these longer matches, tag team's the way to go. He doesn't have to wrestle the whole time. He gets half the work, if not less. So, yeah, and Les Sex Gods, tag team champions, beating FTR in the future. Yes, please. I'm all for it. But Jericho hasn't won that belt yet, right? He hasn't never been a tag team champion in AEW. So,
yeah, it's just the way they got there. It was just it was baffling. And and again, no, this match isn't happening at All Out. Instead, the FTR and the Young Bucks are teaming up. Like, I don't understand what's going on.
Why not have them wrestle anybody at All Out? But you know what?
And is Jericho a face or a heel? Because he was like, "Oh, boo us all you want. We're going after the tag team title." It was just like, but you were just a baby face. Like, just coming into the ring, you were a baby. Like, I don't understand.
Me neither. So. I'm confused. And like you said, Don Callis hasn't been heard of. But something I did enjoy and understood, my second thing, was the Acclaimed celebration. So the music hits, they come out, they cut a fire rap like always. They go in, and you can kind of see like this rope, to cut the celebration rope, and you saw belts obviously hidden. And I was like, all right, what's going on? So they open with Daddy Ass. And he talks about how excited he is. And Daddy Ass is back. Badass Billy Gunn is dead again. And they were like chanting like, we missed you or something. He was like, I was gone for one day. It was a pretty funny line. But basically, they do their thing. They talk about how they're here now. It's their house. And they are the House of Ass. I loved it. It looks like they're moving on from the House of Black. And they talk about they're going to defend these belts all the time. Like I said, them winning is a plus, because they are so flipping over. And even though House of Black was over and the trios, I think they're like House of Black rule. It just threw the trios thing off. And once again, I've said this a lot, like The Undertaker, like the late, great Bray Wyatt, these guys didn't need belts because their persona and who they are can carry them to great matches and headline WrestleManias without needing belts or pay-per-views. The same thing with the House of Black. They don't need the belts. They are phenomenal. And if they get utilized right, let them just be a force to be reckoned with. You know what I mean? Not always wrestling in trios. But the best part of this was that Caster grabbed scissors, but they were little. And so Daddy Ass was like, hey, why don't you move your little one so I can get my big one? And he pulled out big scissors and he cut the rope. And Max Caster and Bowens introduced the new trios championships with the same look, but they were pink. And not only were they pink, they flipped it over, and they are literally scissors on the back. Two scissors connected that says the Acclaimed. These are the greatest belts ever created in history of wrestling. I'm going to say that right now. I'm proud to state it. Better than the $1 million belt, better than the big gold belt. These are the greatest belt. They are pink, and they have scissors on the back. They were literally scissoring each other with the belt, scissoring fans. I'm all for it. This is what we needed. The Acclaimed to be back, be in the spotlight. Tony Khan, you're going to sell a boatload of merch still. That's what you said, why they didn't break them up to begin with, because the Daddy Ass and the scissoring is like probably their biggest seller still in merch-wise. But yes, let's keep this going. I'm very happy, and I thought this celebration was perfect. They did it all like in 10 minutes. So
pros. Good job to the Acclaimed. And again, we said it earlier. Keep this going. Don't stall their momentum. Keep them on every week, and let them do what they were doing in the tag division before you questionably took the belts off of them.
Yeah, for the Guns.
For the Guns, who were see how well they're doing right now.
Yeah.
So, and no more teasing the turn of Billy Gunn. I like them all together. They're in a great spot.
I agree.
And then the last thing I want to talk about, and I'll be brief, is the Adam Cole in-ring promo, where he speaks live after the historical All-In main event. That's how they were selling it all night long. He pretty much got interrupted by Roderick Strong and the Kingdom. And they confronted him and thought Roddy Strong had some good lines, such as, is my neck health not important to you? I thought that was pretty funny. But the revelation there was that Roderick Strong is going to enter yet another tournament. There's going to be a tournament. It's going to be a tournament to crown the next challenger for MJF's championship. And it's going to be crowned at Dynamite Grand Slam at Arthur Ashe. And Roderick Strong announced that he is entering that. And not only is he entering it, he is going to win. and he's going to be the one to face MJF. But essentially, Mike Bennett and the Kingdom and Roderick Strong laid into Adam Cole by saying that, you've abandoned us, and you're questioning his friendship with MJF. It was, I don't know. I thought it was cool. I'm just kind of, I like the little nugget of Roderick Strong, but I'm kind of ready for them to. He's been doing this now for a couple of weeks. I'm kind of ready for them to either move on or do something about it. And it looks like they're finally getting to that next chapter where he's going to try to do something about it by going after MJF and winning the title. Then they announced that there's MJF and Adam Cole, their next opponent, will be the winners of a battle royal that's going to take place on Rampage. And the Kingdom, who are feuding with Adam Cole or who are in this promo battle, Mike Bennett and I can't remember the other guy's name, but they're not in the battle royal on Rampage, which makes no sense. I mean, if you want to advance the story, why not have Mike Bennett and the Kingdom against Adam Cole and MJF? Set that up, and then have Roderick Strong do the thing in the tournament, and maybe have him win and go against MJF, and continue that. But I don't know. I thought it was a good promo, but I'm kind of ready for them to get to the next chapter. And I was disappointed we didn't get to see MJF.
Yeah, and I get that they're ROH tag team champions, so maybe they're not supposed to be as important as the AEW tag team champions. But I mean, spoiler alert, they're going to face a Dark Order, and I'm sorry to break it to you, but we're better than you, Bebe, versus the Dark Order at a pay-per-view. What are they going to be the second match on the night? Like, are we not? Is MJF not important? Is your biggest non-champion and your champion not big enough to have like a real tag team match against some people, like the Dark Order against little short arms? And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know there's so many Dark Order fans out there, but I've never gotten it, and I still don't get it. And I don't know. To each its own. But yeah, I agree. I actually thought Roderick Strong's promo was a little weird. I thought he was going a little too much with it. I thought it was awkward between him and Adam Cole. It was like they were trying to force things out. It didn't seem like the crowd was too into it. Even when he announced that he was going to enter himself in the tournament, it seemed like the crowd was like, whatever. Roderick Strong's not that guy, and he hasn't been that guy. And I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I like that they're pushing the story, and I'm hopefully this story is the push to keep MJF and Adam Cole together, baby, because they deserve it and they should stay together. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But once again, a tournament. This is another, like, tournaments are a cheap way to not tell stories. You can do tournaments for the international title, for maybe the tag title, an ROH title, but the World Heavyweight Championship needs to have stories. And so building a tournament to have one guy isn't going to build your story. It just gives you a quick fix, and I'm not for that. MJF needs real feuds and so on. So, all right. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. We got a few minutes left, but we all know what time it is, right?
What time is it?
It is. Oh gosh, where is it? Here we go.
Prediction time.
What time is it? Prediction time. What time is it? What time is it?
All right, it is prediction time again here on AEW. Right. We went back and forth. We did All In, and now we're doing All Out. Wasn't All Out their biggest pay-per-view? Wasn't this like their WrestleMania
at one point? Yeah.
No. I thought it was, right?
Yeah.
And now because of All In, this is like a weird booking by TK. Even if you were trying to do a back and forth, I don't know. I just feel like the last All Out was the fight and everything else, and that thing was like stacked to the T. Like I'm confused on what's happening. But anyway, let's get into these predictions. These could be easy or hard predictions. I don't know. Once again, when you don't have story and you're just throwing matches together, we're gonna, it's like throwing what into the wind. All right. So we got the BCC versus the ROH Pure Champion Shibata and the NJPW Strong Openweight Champion.
Whew.
Eddie Kingston. Holy cow. Is that on the belt? Anyway, all right. So who you got?
I don't care. I'm going with the BCC. I feel like they can't lose, and if they're your strongest faction, you got to book them strong. And I don't think they can. They lost a few matches there to Kenny Omega and all those guys, and they did lose to the Best Friends. They can't lose again. So
I agree.
BCC wins.
I agree. Kingston just beat Yuta as well on Dynamite, so I'm gonna go with the BCC pinning. We'll go Kingston. All right.
All right.
Now we got Kenny Omega versus Takeshita. I said it right?
You said it right, yeah.
All right. Kenny Omega versus
Kensuke
Takeshita. All right. This is, I mean, who do you got?
I think Takeshita's going to win. And I think there's going to be shenanigans from Don Callis preventing Kenny Omega from yet again getting another win.
Oh, this is a tough one because the whole thing was that Kenny Omega always beats him, right? That's the thing.
Yeah.
And that Takeshita finally got his win, right? And even though it was in a tag match, it felt very Jey Uso-y. So that's what's making me think it's going the other way. I don't know what they're doing with Don Callis right now. I don't like. He definitely does not have that dirty Dom heel heat anymore. But I'm gonna flip it. I'm gonna go Kenny Omega. Why not? I'm gonna say I think Kenny Omega to keep it going, and Kenny Omega needs to stay on top of Don Callis, right? So I'll go that way. We got Miro, CM Punk's BFF, versus Powerhouse Hobbs. So have we gotten anything for this feud? Did I miss something?
They came out on Collision a few weeks ago and had like a stare down.
I remember that, but
he was going to add another chapter to the Book of Hobbs. But other than
maybe
that,
Rampage and Collision coming up, maybe we'll get something. I don't. This is a very very.
And I don't think either one of these guys can afford another loss. But I'm going to go with Miro. I think Miro's going to pull it out.
Yeah, I think Miro's It's the only answer. I really feel that way. Miro is the Collision dude. He's coming in, and I mean, Miro. Remember Miro in AEW? He was like the biggest star in the world.
Yeah.
What happened to this guy?
Hobbs too.
Yeah, 100%. I don't. Yeah. All right. Now we got the Bullet Club Gold. So it's all four of them, including the Guns, versus the AEW World Tag Team Champions FTR and everybody's favorite tag team, the Young Bucks. Random pairing. They were just backstage and bumped into each other, and they said, "Why not? Let's fight."
Yeah, let's be friends. Yeah.
So who do you got?
I'm never a fan of champions losing matches, and so I think FTR and the Young Bucks are going to win.
Oh, this is a tough one again because the Bullet Club Gold got to win. They need the momentum. But there's the Guns. I feel like they're the only ones who can take the L for anybody. I don't think the Young Bucks are going to take the L or FTR. So I'm going to agree with you. I think I'll go FTR, the Young Bucks for this. Now we're into all our ROH matches. So first one, we got the ROH because this is
let's
ROH
do some quick hits.
Out.
Yeah.
All right, ROH World Tag Team Title match. We have the Dark Order versus Better Than You, Baby.
Better Than You, Baby is winning.
The end.
No questions
asked. Dark Order is not winning this match. Yeah. No. All right. The ROH World Television Title match. Samoa Joe versus some guy I've never heard of, and I'm not afraid to admit it. Not saying he's not bad or good, but Shane Taylor. Welcome to AEW.
Yeah. Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe is winning. Yeah. Now we have our random, which is kind of trying to get a build. The AEW TBS title match. We got Chris Statlander, who's done nothing with this belt since it was taken away from my girl, versus Ruby Soho, who's still in the Outcast, maybe the only member. Who do you got?
I'm actually going to go Ruby Soho. I think she's going to, and then two of the Outcasts are going to have titles. And what's that going to leave for Toni Storm?
Should go even more nuts. I'm going to go Chris Statlander. I don't know why. I just feel like they want to keep the title on her. So I think I'll be wrong though. I like your idea. AEW TNT title match. We got Luchasaurus, who's actually going to wrestle, I think. Maybe we'll find out, but he's supposed to defend his title against Darby Allin. Who you got?
I think this is what I was going to tell you before the show. I think this show main events. And I think Luchasaurus wins. Christian Cage comes out, cuts a promo, dresses down the Chicago crowd, talks about how they're irrelevant. This is the first time Chicago's been relevant since the Bulls won their championship, since Jordan was here. There's nobody left for him to face. And boom, that's when Adam Copeland, You Think You Know Me, hits. And he comes out and he says, you haven't faced me yet. And spears Christian, spears Luchasaurus. And that's the next feud for the TNT championship.
Whoa, you're going big.
Yeah. And he's the new face of Collision. Yeah.
Return. Oh, because CM Punk is done.
Right. Yeah.
You're going. That's a good way to get CM Punk out. Fans ain't gonna not cheer for Edge. So you think Adam Copeland is?
They got to do something big,
and they're closing the show. Wow. All right.
That's my theory.
All right.
Yeah. I'm probably wrong.
I mean, I'm going Luchasaurus too. There's no chance Darby Allin wins, but that's a wow. All right. And with the match I thought would be the main event, we got the AEW International Title match, freshly squeezed, no promo himself, Orange Cassidy versus John Moxley. Who you got?
Moxley. Moxley's winning the title. Unfortunately, I think he's somebody who doesn't need a belt, but he's going to win it.
He doesn't need it, but I feel like for BCC to have relevance in this title, Orange Cassidy made this title relevant. This is probably a more important title than the World Championship. It rarely ever gets defended. I'm going to go Orange Cassidy's losing. He's had this title for almost a year or not longer. And who else to take it, right? At least he's losing it to a big name. I don't like that the first time he fights somebody of a big name, he's going to lose.
Yeah,
that's like
he's
when you
going to
have
lose.
a sport. That's like when you have a football team and they're like 8-0, and then they finally play like a team above 500 and get smoked, and you're like, oh, maybe my team's not good. So like that's kind of how I feel about this. But yeah, I'm gonna go John Mox as well. So all right.
Yeah.
And we got a hot one from you. Let's see. Now I'm excited to see if that happens.
That's what I'm hoping. I think the whole contract extension stuff was not a hoax, but just a smokescreen. But I think if you want to make an impact and you want this pay-per-view to be memorable, that's what you got to do.
Man, I thought WWE had a 90-day no wrestle clause in all their contracts.
I think they do if they release you, but if your contract runs out, you can go right away.
You can do what you want. Got it. All right. Well, you heard it here first, people. Let's see if you're right. That's a hot one. All right, man.
I'm probably way off.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. But we'll have stuff to talk about next week then for WWE and AEW. We got 2 pay-per-views and a premium live event and a pay-per-view. We got a lot of stuff going on. We'll see if CM Punk returns, if Adam Copeland's coming back, what's going on, and payback and so on. So I'm excited. Should be a fun weekend, Labor Day weekend. Enjoy your Labor Day, y'all. Be safe, drink, eat hamburgers, go to the beach, do whatever, but be safe. And as always, continue to tune in, subscribe, watch us, listen to us. We appreciate the support.
Keep it up.
Yes, sir. Dude of Wrestle Talk, Mr. MWO. And with me, as always, is
everybody's favorite ginger kid, Shooting Star Press. Follow us on YouTube, subscribe on Apple, rate us, review us, all that fun stuff. Email us, 2dudeswithAttitudespodcast@gmail.com. Let us know your takes. Let us hear from you. And subscribe. That's the name of the game. Subscribe. We're almost at 500 subscribers, so keep it coming.
Yes, sir. All right.
Two dudes out.
Pack. We out.
It's the 2 dudes with the attitudes. Let's go. On the Friday, you know what it is. Man, they came to handle biz. 2 dudes with attitudes.